Hi, I'm Diana DeRosa, and I'm speaking with Patrice Beriault, who lives in Quebec, Canada, and is the director of the short documentary 10 Days. I have to tell you, Patrice, I loved the cinematography and the songs, especially the last song. But that was a tough topic to do. Why did you decide to do that?
Actually, prior to doing this documentary, I was working as a teacher, as a mentor with a student who was working with veterans here in Canada that had PTSD and serious injuries as well. And so I discovered that subject while mentoring her. And then from doing my own research on my next step as a documentarist, the next subject I wanted to do, I discovered that equine therapy in Quesnel, BC, and got in touch with the hosts and suggested that I could do a documentary, and it became 10 days.
10 days, and it was really, I really enjoyed it. And I think what I also took away from that, I mean, I've always heard about veterans doing it, but that it's more than just veterans, a lot of other people. What are some of your takeaways from this project?
What do you mean by takeaways, in the sense that?
Meaning, when you think back, it's always a long time to put these together by the time you do all the editing and stuff. But there's things that stick in your mind and that you're glad, you experienced. So what are some of those things?
One of the things is that when you do a documentary, there's a story in front of the camera, and then there's what you live behind the camera. And that's, I would say that as a documentarist, it's one of the reasons why we do these stories, is that we want to learn, we want to be better. In my case, I want to be a better man. And, and doing this story made me discover a world of mental health I was not aware of. And also about the PTSD itself, what I did, among the many things that I learned that I was taught, it's that PTSD does not only affect veterans of the military, not only first responders, but it also affects civilians. It could be you, it could be me, at any moment, at any time. It disregards gender, social background, age. And so this is one of the many things that I learned doing this project. It's that PTSD is not just a military story or a military issue.
Yeah, and actually that's something I was thinking about. But it's kind of clear what the military, if they've been in the war and stuff like that would be, we don't know what happens when they're there. But what did you learn from the other people? What was some of the issues that the other people were having, and why?
Many of them, actually, during the 10 days, I was working with 6 women and men. And so some of them were policemen and women. There were 2 veterans from the RCMP. RCMP is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And then 3 military or 2 military veterans. And so one of the many things I understood is that there are traumas that can be complex, in the sense that some of these individuals had recurring events throughout their career that eventually brought them to have this PTSD, which is, in this case, is called complex trauma or complex PTSD. For others, it's one event. And then sometimes it's a series of events that they succeed in, surfing over without having this moment where they just collapse. And then at one point, something happens and they just did collapse. And so it is indeed complex. There is no just one way to be affected by trauma or mental issues or PTSD. It's a complex situation. And my 10 days with them made me realize that when you're talking with people that have mental health issues, you really have to be careful how you judge them, if I can say. It's perhaps not the correct word, but your analysis of the people that you have in front of you, because there's so many reasons why you can have mental health issue.
You know, I think until we walk in their shoes, that's a very, very positive statement that, we can't really judge it until we have done that ourselves, and we haven't. So I want to thank you very much for joining me. Do you have any last words you'd like to say?
Well, unfortunately, I won't be there with you this year because of the reasons that we know. So I do hope that everybody has a great festival. My heart and my thoughts are with you guys, and perhaps we'll see each other next year.
Absolutely, that would be wonderful. Well, I'm Diana DeRosa reporting for the EQUUS Film and Art Fest 2021 and the EQUUS Television Network. And thank you, Patrice, for joining me.
My pleasure.